Hi everyone and welcome to the first episode of SPAARC, special program of Arun's Academy to relearn from conversations. I am super excited to inform you the guest we have today. Some of my regular learners and participants have definitely heard of this name. We have with us Major Vikrant Khare. Let me share my screen now and give you a brief introduction of Major Vikrant Khare. Major Vikrant is a retired Indian Army officer. He is an alumnus of National Defence Academy, Indian Military Academy, and Indian Institute of Management, Lucknow. He has over a decade of corporate experience with different corporate houses like Sterlite Industries and G4S Cash Services. Vice President Meru Caps was his last corporate role, after which he started his journey of entrepreneurship. He is the founder of Digi Garage, which is a software development company giving ERP solutions to companies in different sectors. He is also an active member of Aam Aadmi Party Delhi Wing and is working with a vision to bring positive changes in society. Personally, he has played multiple roles in my life. He is a mentor, guide, elder brother, and most importantly, a very, very good friend. Major, wish you a warm welcome to the first episode of SPAARC. Major, the first question for you. Can you tell us a little about your childhood?
Okay, so I personally belong to a government class family. So my father was a government employee in railways. So I have been shuffling to various places and have generally been a small town guy. Have studied in places like a very small town called Fatehgarh in Uttar Pradesh, then Mathura, and primarily I have been a so-so average student and an average student in sports, academics, and I had a very healthy family life.
Major, why and how did you end up in NDA?
See, I always wanted to join NDA. So this is primarily, I will say, the motivation came from my father. So since very childhood, he has always motivated me. And somewhere, I don't know, where I was too young to understand what army was or what defense forces were. But from that time, I have been told, like, I'll give you an example. When I was going for first standard, this thing interview for my admission. So the teacher asked me that what's your name, and I said my name is Major Vikrant Khare. Probably my father taught me that, and but that's how it went. And I always wanted to be in army. I was passionate with the kind of adventurous life army had, also the kind of uniform. So I was very passionate with the uniform. And from my first standard to ninth standard, I studied in a school called St. Anthony's, which is in Fatehgarh. So Fatehgarh is a regimental center for Rajput Regiment and Sikh Light Infantry. So I have always been seeing while coming to school, because I belong to a civilian family background, so I have nobody in army from my family. So I was always fascinated whenever I used to go to school, come out of school, seeing these people around. And that's where probably the motivation became much stronger. And then I decided to move on to NDA.
Amazing. So what are your suggestions or recommendations to youngsters today who are dreaming to join Indian Army or defense in general?
See, I must say, so first thing you aptly said that you are dreaming to join, because you should not consider it as one of the jobs, because obviously the job is quite demanding, and I can tell you it is one of the best jobs anybody can pursue. Any youngster, I would definitely recommend. But definitely you should have that aspiration to be a defense officer, because the kind of challenges that will come en route. So it should not be just that, okay, I have to go through, I have given certain examinations. I also appeared for IIT, I also appeared for PMT, and then I also appeared for NDA, because these are the competitions which were available after 12. It should not be that. You should be quite determined if you are looking for that kind of a job. And trust me, apart from your career, so it has got a very promising career. Defense forces have got a very promising career, especially if you join through NDA at a very young age. So your chances to move up in hierarchy is very high. And apart from the adventure, the kind of lifestyle, overall career prospect is very good. But it has to be a very systematic approach to move to India, because it is the out of around 5 lakh people who every semester who appear for India, there are around 250, 300 people who finally make it to that. So I would not suggest that it should be just a approach to appear for an exam. Probably you should have a very systematic approach to prepare for it. And there are a lot of material which are available now on obviously YouTube and various other channels. So with the internet coming as a place, so you have a lot of opportunities to go through. But preparing for written, then preparing for the SSB interviews is a very systematic approach, and you should actually follow those steps and parameters to understand that much better.
See, one thought which non-army background people have is army में जाएगा बेटा, LOC में रहेगा, गोली खा के मर जाएगा. So what do you want to say to those parents who are having this kind of skepticism to send their kids to even the entry exams of Indian Army or Defense?
So Arun, I will say बैंगलोर में इंजीनियरिंग करने जाएगा, रोड क्रॉस करेगा और बैंगलोर की ट्रैफिक में एक्सीडेंट होकर के मर जाएगा. What do you want? So first of all, life and death is in nobody's hand. There are 98, 99% or probably 99+% of army officers, army personnel who retire after completing their successful tenure. And it's not that the death rate is higher in army or any of the defense forces. So first, let's understand that very logically. Then second is, when you say it is, the fate is same all across. And probably I'll give you an example. When I joined, rather my call letter came for NDA. So my final selection was done and my All India rank was released. Thereafter, the letter came to my home, and there were many people from neighbors and from dad's department who came to congratulate. So one of them, I was sitting in another room. My dad was sitting and living with that gentleman. And I overheard this. So that gentleman said that, "Aapka ek beta and you are sending him an army, kuch ho jayega." My dad replied to him कि सड़क पे ऐसे मरेगा, उससे अच्छा जो आर्मी में जाकर के जिस तरह से एक शहादत होती है और जो वो अचीव करेगा, उसमें जमीन आसमान का फर्क है. So see, how many times have you seen any of your known person who died of anything, who died early in age, and the kind of farewell that you bid him, or a kind of farewell a soldier gets when he comes wrapped in a tricolor? And because it's not about life and death. Let's be very practical. We all know and we all understand how life and death works. Let's talk about the life first. So the life of a soldier is a very different life, and it's not about कि LOC पे जाके गोली खा के आएगा. वो LOC पे जा करके he's standing there for the sovereignty of the nation. And also I want to bring out one myth about army is even I had when I joined army is like कि आर्मी में जाऊंगा तो वहां पे ट्रेनिंग होगी, मुझे गोली चलानी सिखाई जाएगी, and I have to carry a weapon and I have to keep fighting. That's not what army is. So it is a department, it is an organization. So you need to understand that probably. And for any person who continues for around 20 years in army and officer, 70% of his life goes into an administrative work. So it is more of a managerial skill that you are taught about. In NDA, you are taken through a graduation process. So you complete your graduation through JNU. In NDA training, the most important aspect of your overall training is your academics. Thereafter, once you get commissioned, for almost till the rank of brigadier, there are so many courses, so much of studies that you have to do for your promotions. It's a very competitive environment. So let's not get confused with army saying that कि वो गोली चलाने के लिए. Yes, that is our primary job. That is what we are trained to do. But then it is, since it is an organization, it's one of the largest organization of any of the countries talk about. So it is a much larger role than we actually see in army. So I would not take this कि वो गोली खा के आएगा. So let your kid be a man enough to face the bullets over there and a man enough to actually handle men. So you cannot have any other job where people on your one command are ready to sacrifice their lives. And boss, if nobody joins army, then you know what is the next. So one day army goes down, and you know how many preparators are there to get inside your country. So this is I would not appreciate any of such comments from any of the parents. They should understand that they are sitting free, their kid is sitting free because someone else's kid is standing there, standing tall over there to protect the sovereignty of the nation.
Absolutely, 100% agree, Major. I think you know about me. I had also given a try in short service board,
Yeah.
Bhopal. I badly wanted to be in Indian Army, but even if I had been, I would not be in infantry. For those who don't know, infantry is that wing which actually faces the enemy in the LOC. And it was your choice to be in infantry, and what a life and what experiences you have had. You have shared a lot of things with us. Can you share? I'll just put it in this way. Can you share the most exciting experience you have had in your stint in Indian Army?
See, some of the most exciting experience I won't be able to share over here on the grounds of confidentiality, but I can tell you it is every day is an exciting day. So it is not a job. It is much beyond that. So when you talk about in terms of adventure or anything, so I'll give you an example, and I'll not get into too many of such things. I'll share the first day when I joined my regiment. So it was in Samba sector in Jammu and Kashmir, and first day I joined and I was taken to a post. It was a forward post right across the border. So I was in uniform with 2 stars, feeling lieutenant, and like I was feeling myself nothing less than Arnold. And there was a DCB which is called Dich Kam Band, and it is like a post from where you actually go stand and you can see the Pakistan post right in front of you, a few hundred meters away. I stood there in my uniform and I was looking across towards the flag. Suddenly, a guy comes, a soldier, and he says, "साहब वहां से नीचे आ जाओ, अचानक से वो देखेंगे तो गोली चल सकती है." So that was the first time when I realized कि हाँ गोली चल सकती है. So that was a different experience, all, and then suddenly you realize that you are in thick of action, and that's how your next few years are going to be at this location. And then obviously there are several experiences several times, and don't trigger a army officer for stories, because we have got so many stories that your this entire call will get into the stories and all. So probably yes, there'll then many other experience as well.
Thank you, Major. I have to share this with my viewers as well. When I first heard that Major Vikrant Khare is coming to join logistics department of Sterlite, I had already spoken with Major, and you know how his voice is. So I was expecting a 6 foot, 6.5 feet tall, hefty guy with mustache and all, because he was retired Major Vikrant Khare. So you don't look like that at all, Major. Can you tell us why did you retire from Indian Army after being so passionate to be in infantry and army?
So see, it was in Naushera sector. When I was posted in Naushera sector, it was on line of control. So I got injured in one of the operations, and what happens in army is generally, and especially in infantry. So I had done my commandos by that time. I successfully completed my commando course also. But once you get injured, so you are, and there were certain ailments which developed in my nerves, because of which I was not allowed to be posted on high altitude. So thereafter, I was placed under low medical category. So low medical category is that you will be uh, certain postings will be restricted, certain tenures will be restricted, and you will primarily shift from infantry to some other service arm. So it is like supply, ordnance, those services which are there. I had to shift to that. So I was quite passionate about infantry. I joined the regiment of my choice. So I never wanted to get out of that. And then I decided that if I have to do supply chain management only, so why not better try myself outside? Because see, you will, to give you an example, is like there's a sense of pride of your regiment always. So it is very difficult to to shift from one regiment and especially from infantry to services. So that's the reason I took this call to move out.
Can you please share in a nutshell what happens in a commando training? Because we see a lot of people, in the news and all that he was a commando. For example, Major Sandeep Unnikrishnan was a commando, if I'm right. So my only thing is people should know about it. So what is commando training and what happens there? What did you go through?
So see, one is that there are various, in army also there are various types of commandos. So depending on the skills, depending on the capabilities that are being developed and depending on the requirement on the terrain. So there are different types of commandos and different types of course. One of the most important one is the infantry commando course, which is the school is in Belgaum, infantry, the commando school Belgaum. So I will say that it is probably one of the toughest uh, training that I have seen. It is one of the toughest experience that we had. But one thing I was sharing on one of the forums I was talking few days back, I shared over there also is like when we joined this course, so there was a opening address by the commandant of the commando school. He was a major general, and he said that the major focus of this training is to teach you that dying is difficult. And actually, we realized that because every day in that training, you would feel that it's the last day. I can't really make it to this task, and I'll die today. But then you realize that you will take up this also, and that's what I'm trying to say. A human body and a human mind is very strong. More than body, a human mind is very strong. If you are determined about something, if you're ready to take that challenge, it can actually take you miles ahead than what you can imagine. So in a current scenario, if I can imagine that I'll be able to do this, don't be surprised that your mind will be able to take you 10 times more of that. So whether it is about studies, whether it is about physical exercises, whether it is about any of such things, your mind can actually take you much more than what you imagine. And commandos training is again, there's a lot of physical exercises. The physical stress that comes over there is tremendous. Apart from that, you also have to get into academics also. So academics is a part and parcel of army. I always thought कि army में चला जाऊंगा तो पढ़ना नहीं पड़ेगा, but I was sadly mistaken. Army में there's lot to study. So even in courses like commandos, you are made to study, you are made to read, write exams, everything happens. So it is more about the entire commando training is, I will not get into the strategic part of it, that what a commando training aims for, but to give you a nutshell on a very helicopter view is like commando training actually gives you that mental strength that you can achieve a thing. So it tells you that it's difficult to die. And there's a motto over there which is written in the school, like when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. So it is actually the entire journey teaches you that you can achieve more than what you imagine. So probably one of the best trainings I have attended and one of the toughest trainings that I have attended in my life.
And I've been with you for long. I know the kind of willpower that you carry. And what I have seen is, yes, I have seen few civilians who can do that, who have that kind of a willpower. But army people, it's absolutely different. So what gives that kind of a, I would say, I don't know, unbreakable kind of a willpower to army men? What is so special about army men, which because of which they have that kind of a willpower?
So see, first of all, we are all civilians. So I also came from a civilian background. I was a civilian till the time I actually became a army man. And I'll tell you the most important thing is the sense of pride. The day you start taking pride in yourself. So what drives us in training, in our during our professional career, everything is like people look up to us. That's what drives us. So the entire country, if I am posted on LOC and I am into probably a CI ops, or I am into an operation against an enemy, against a group of terrorists, I know that my action will be viewed by the entire nation. And I know that the nation is counting on me. So there's a sense of pride that gets developed in me, and that drives me to continue this thing. So it is a very important skill. If you think from your personal life, somebody who's not in army, somebody who's into corporate, somebody who's into still studying in college. Remember, if you carry that sense of pride in yourself, you'll be able to do that. If you yourself are like, no, I can't do it, I'm not capable enough of doing it, and what if I don't do it? It's okay. The day you start thinking like that, definitely you'll not be able to achieve. But the day you decide that, no, I have to do it and I'm capable of doing it, I have to prove it that I can do it, that day. And it's not about stress. So please don't get confused. To all these youngsters, I want to tell you, this is not about stress of performance. This is not pressure of performance. It is actually taking that pride in yourself and stretching yourself. So under pressure, you don't perform. So it cannot be pressure. Pressure is like, I have to do it. I have to do it. My parents have sent me here to study. I have to do it. I like it. I don't like it. I'm doing it. I'm pushing myself to do it. Whereas once you take sense of pride, if I'm doing engineering, there's a sense of pride that I'll be an engineer tomorrow. I'll be developing vehicles. So to everyone, I would want to tell you that when you decide, so when you go for engineering, let's take an example. Don't go with that mindset that I have to pick up a job after this. So, okay, is college mein aaya, so this will be my package in campus. Is college mein gaya, so my package will increase. What are you doing over here? You are getting into run of the mill and you're just aiming for getting a job. Whereas what a sense of pride is when you took automobile engineering and then you decide that I'll make a self-driven car in India. That is the sense of pride. And the day you start thinking like this, it's not a remote button that presses and you start thinking. It's over a period of time that you start thinking, you start working on those lines. Trust me, you will be able to excel so much in your college academics also, because you'll start liking it. Because when you are reading about the dynamics of an automobile, then you will start thinking from a different perspective. You'll start realizing, okay, why can't it be like this? Why? And when you say that, why can't it be like this? Then you'll actually read that what it is right now to drive that change. So don't get into that rut of passing exam, getting into campus and getting selected for a job. Get into the rut of actually innovating, actually creating and excelling in that field. And trust me, rest everything will follow. No campus will ever reject you. No company will ever reject you if you have that kind of a passion. And this is just an example that I gave you for automobile. So learn to drive yourself to a particular thing. And that's what happens in army is like you start loving your job. You start feeling that sense of pride. You start loving your job. And that's how you can, because if I don't love my job, trust me, there is no incentive in this world which can motivate me to face the bullets. So if I'm motivated so much, it means that I have a sense of pride for myself. I have a sense of pride for my regiment. I have a sense of pride for my country. So the day you start believing in yourself, your academic institution, your teachers, your organization, your state, your country, things will automatically start falling in place. There's no rocket science behind that.
So true,
Yeah?
Major. So true. Major, what are the top 3 learnings for you from Indian Army? If you have to think and tell me top 3.
So one is, I'll put it up like this, is a systematic approach. That is very, very important. So starting from management of people to fighting a battle, to facing a group of terrorists, or to extraditing a particular house in CI ops. Anything you see, there's a process which is there. So when I gave you this example does not come just by sitting and thinking, okay, I'll make a car, okay, I'll make this, I'll make a aircraft. And every day you start thinking and you started making an aircraft. How will you make an aircraft? It is only after you have a process. You write down what are you looking at. You create a process for yourself. You create a process for your studies. That's how you achieve. So one is that process orientation is very, very important. And in army, nothing moves without a process. Nothing. Your no idea is welcome till the time you don't have a process for that. So one is that process orientation is very, very important in life. Then understanding your objective. Rather, objective is a step before this. you should have an objective and goal in life. So that is that's the most important thing I would say. I many times see people, job lag gayi to ye kar lunga, nahi lagi to ye kar lunga, aur nahi to ye kar lunga. What is your objective? If, let's say, I come from a middle class family and I am doing my engineering, I have to support my family. So my objective is very clear. I have to find a good job. Very good. You don't need to be an innovator. You don't need to be a entrepreneur or anything. Your objective is very clear. Ki, boss, I have to support my family and I need a job. So that's how you start working on it. Somebody says, I need to be an entrepreneur. Be very clear about your objectives. Even in jobs, while you are in a job, you are assigned a particular task. Can you start moving on a task without identifying your objective? So you, me, we both have worked together in corporate for so long, and you will appreciate with this that every time, till the time you don't identify your objective, you will end up in half-done task. Because after a certain stage, you will actually get confused at what was I driving? What was my objective? And you realize it very late in life, or very late in that particular task, or very late in that particular project. So you should actually be able to identify it as your first step, that what is my objective? In your 12th standard, you should be able to identify what is my objective. I want to become a painter. I want to become an artist. I want to become a singer. I want to become an engineer. I want to become an army officer. Till the time your objective is not clear, trust me, you are just dragging yourself. And that's where we see so many cases like people are, and I feel very surprised when people say, "Are yaar, Sunday khatam ho gaya, ab kal se office hai." Boss, this is what you chose. This is what you wanted. You wanted to work. You have got an office. So why do you feel so depressed about going to office? I have never been able to understand this fact. Ab college khul gaye. Come on, yaar, you worked so hard for joining this college. And now you say that ab college khul gaya, mujhe college jana padega. You're so depressed about it. It is just because your objective was not clear properly. You didn't realize because everybody else was doing engineering in your neighborhood. So you also said, and your dad said that, okay, tum bhi engineering karo aur tumne bhi engineering kar li. And then you're not enjoying it. So, and to tell you this movie, all of us, all the viewers must have definitely seen this movie, Three Idiots. I will say this movie was crux to the life mantra. So if you're not enjoying a thing, if you're not, it means you didn't want that thing. You wanted something else, you have landed up somewhere else. Don't do that. Don't kill yourself at such early stage in life. The country needs, the world needs good painters, the world needs good artists, the world needs good academicians, the world needs good engineers. Everybody is required, but do what you wanted to do. So that objective is very clear, the process orientation is very clear, and then is your determination. So without determination, when I objective clear kar liya ki mujhe engineer banna hai, I cleared my process that this is how I will prepare for IIT, this is how I'll prepare for NIT or whatever you decided for, and you went through that, you are studying. But if you're not determined, trust me, halfway you will actually start dropping. So to take you through the entire journey, determination is very important. When you have this thing in your head, the most powerful part of your body is your brain. So when you are determined, you have decided that I'll do this, nothing which is impossible. If Dhirubhai Ambani working on petrol pumps can create this Reliance group of industries, I think most of us must be more blessed than him to have basic education system, well-earning parents, good college and everything. Why can't we achieve it? So obviously, your objective is your objective to be Dhirubhai Ambani. If not, then whatever you wanted to be. So to put it up over here to other viewers, and it's not for Arun, because I know Arun was doing very good in corporate journey, and he kept on saying, Major, I didn't want to do this. I don't want to be operations head. I don't want to drive this. I actually want to be in learning and development. I want to teach something to students. And trust me, he took that plunge. He left a well-paying job and moved into this journey of learning and development. And he is much more happy than he used to be earlier because he found his objective, he was determined for it, and then he had a process for doing it. Your processes can go right, wrong, you can do tweakings, that's all perfect. But he had these things, that's why he's a much happier person. Success is from your level of happiness. So whether Arun is he's leading learning and development in his city, in his state, or he is probably the country's biggest learning and development instructor, those are all success which is there in the head. That is what your ambition is. That is what your objective is. But he has achieved his objective. So Arun, kudos to you also for taking this plunge. But probably I could not have put it up in a much better fashion. All these three steps, what you have achieved in life.
Thank
I
you,
hope I
Major.
have answered.
Means a lot. Means a lot. Thank you, Major. What is your top strength and weakness?
Okay, so I am getting interviewed now. Okay, so see, I'll say my top strength, which I feel is my confidence. So self-confidence that I have, and probably that's a journey I have traveled through, leaving a government job, then getting into corporate, then from a decent corporate job, taking a plunge into entrepreneurship, getting into politics. So the journey has been moving, and I think one of the most important attribute is the confidence that I have that I'll be able to sail through and to learn new is the most important attribute that has taken through. And if you ask about my weakness, I will again say at some point of time at certain places it has been overconfidence. So because obviously there has to be a very confidence and overconfidence is a very thin red line, and then you need to crack a very striking balance between the two. But at certain places, I have realized that yes, especially in my ventures after I got into entrepreneurship, is that probably it was a overconfidence that I'll be able to take through because I also went through a lot of failures also into this, a lot of success as well. But at certain places, due to my overconfidence, probably I didn't validate it much or I didn't drill much on the problem area or something. But there have been failures, and I will put it up on my overconfidence at certain places.
All right. I usually say that no, two complexes, either inferiority or superiority, are two big killers for any human being. Uh, I have gone through it. I have faced both, and I don't know about you, so I'm just asking: have you ever faced this kind of a complex in your life, either inferiority or superiority? And if yes, how did you overcome the same?
Yes, obviously, as a human being, I've also gone through all the emotions, and I have gone through both these uh, devils in my life as well. So, see, superiority complex, yes, many times I have faced, and especially when I meet people who probably are not on the intellect side or on the education side or not that educated and who don't want to learn, people specifically who don't want to learn. So it is not just about education that you are learned. So with them, I have felt, and when I meet them, I have to work with them. I felt that superiority complex, but then after a certain time, I realized that just this emotion is not going to get me anything. So probably the solution was to get along with those people and try and explain what my thought process is rather than just sitting into a superiority complex and taking it as a sense of pride. So it was important to find a solution to work with them. So that's how I have done it. And yes, inferiority complex also, when I meet a lot of people who are much better than me, more educated than me, much better in intellect. So at that point of time, I follow a simple mantra of copying and learning. So I also do a lot of copying. So when I meet certain people, so my bosses in my previous organization, so I try and take what good is in them. And so I have given you this example previously also. One of my boss in Sterlite, uh, he was a logistics head, Mr. Ramnath Rangaswamy. I always felt inferior in front of him, not because of his knowledge or anything. It's because of the human behavior that that guy carried. He was so composed, so passionate, so empathetic towards others. So I always felt that if I can be 10% of him also, I'll be a much better person in life. So whenever possible, I'm not that great human being, but whenever possible, I try to copy him in my personal life. I learned a lot of uh, interpersonal skills from him, and till date, I remember those things and I try and implement it in my life whenever possible.
Amazing. See, WH has actually identified top 10 life skills. Okay, and my core area is behavioral training. So we are actually launching a few courses in the coming days, and I've actually grouped certain life skills together because they are related. All right. So I'm going to now just tell you those skills, and if you can draw parallels from your experience of Indian Army or your corporate or entrepreneurial experience, and what do you think of these? Okay. The first set of skills are interpersonal communication or effective communication, you can say, interpersonal relationships, and empathy. Now, these three I'm grouping it together because they are interlinked. What are your thoughts?
So I think, see, these are one of the most important skills for your life, not just for your career, just for army, for your life, any aspect of your life. If you think these are the most important skills, and till the time you're not able to communicate with somebody, so probably you never can achieve what you wanted to. So I'll give you an example as 2016 surgical strikes. We all know about it. So effective communication is so important. Imagine attacking 7 launch pads at one point of time in enemy area, falling back to your location. Was it possible without an interpersonal skill? Was it possible without an effective communication? Different teams, 7 different teams working together at one point of time in such a scenario. So that is very, very important. Even in corporate journey, when we see, if we are not able to communicate properly to our team, it becomes it becomes almost impossible to achieve a particular task. And coming on through empathy, interpersonal skills also leads to empathy. So to share an example of Indian Army, as we all know about Kargil war, we all know the incidents when Pakistani soldiers were killed in the battle. Indian Army paid them their their last respects. They buried their bodies with with the respect that a soldier was supposed to get. So that is about empathy. When you see the same thing in your corporate journey, you have a competitor. So and you when Indian Army can go to the extent of killing the enemy, killing those Pakistani soldiers. So you have to go to all stretch to actually overcome your competitors, to take over the market share and everything which happens. But at the same time, you should not lose the empathy for anyone, whether he is your team member, whether he is your competitor, whether he is an opposition, whatever it is. So, because what happens moment you get into that false aura of lordliness and arrogance after achieving a task, so then you start losing empathy. And I'll say that's a start of your getting killed yourself. So empathy is an example I gave. The most of the ferocious organizations like army also has to have empathy, because that's a part of your profession, and empathy is a part of your human behavior. So you cannot get your human behavior getting killed at any point of time.
Awesome. Next set of skills, Major: creative thinking, critical thinking, problem solving, and decision making.
See, creative thinking is something which is probably going to benefit you at all point of time, and it is, I will say that yes, it is to some extent, it is a skill also. I won't blame a guy who is working in a regular, probably in a regular 9 to 5 job, and he does not do creative thinking in his job. Oh, that's okay. So not everybody can be an innovator, but yes, this is an added skill which you always require. And when you talk about critical thinking is a second stage, which is very important. So you might not have a creative thinking, but at that particular point of time, but yes, obviously, if you want to excel in your life, you need to have that creative thinking. You need to have that bend of innovativeness in your brain. But critical thinking is very important because that is a part of your day-to-day life. At certain places, you need to have that skill. You need to take such decisions and in your day-to-day life. So critical thinking, you can't actually get away with critical thinking in your life. And the third one was you mentioned is, sorry, I missed that,
Problem solving and decision making.
decision making. So decision making is, see, this is again, if you talk in army parlance, decision making is something which every leader has to go through. You cannot have things hanging around, and just because of a fear of failure, why most of the times we don't take a decision. Any human being does not take a decision only because of a fear of failure. So, and imagine the fear of failure is so high in army, because you might end up losing your life, you might end up losing life of your men. But in those scenarios also, you're always motivated to take decisions. This is a part of a leader's role where you have to take a decision. So don't be so scared of taking decisions. A right, there's nothing like right decision, wrong decision. Situations which make it right or wrong at many of the times. You might have taken a right decision, but the external forces were such, the ecosystem was such where you turned up into a failure. But if you don't take a decision, then definitely you're failing. So you have to take, if I have to take, I have to start a project. So my decision can be not to start that project, but that's also a decision. My decision can be to start that project. But not taking a decision is like letting the opportunity go. So that's not a skill of a leader. That's not a talent of a leader. So I would say that decision making is very, very important. So critical decision and decision making, these two things, I put it up and at parallels one. And obviously creative thinking is something which is always going to benefit you further from a ordinary man.
Just an offshoot of the same question, Major. Have you
Yeah,
ever regretted any decision which you have taken in life?
not really. So there are, like, on shorter terms, yes, you feel that, oh shit, I took a wrong decision. Like my first journey of entrepreneurship, what I started, I could not pursue it because I realized that it was a wrong decision. I was not supposed to do this, that particular business. But then there are a lot of things, and when we discussed as a team, so I discussed, and all of us, then we realized is that we learned a lot. And one most important thing is that I learned that what not to do. So I think I took a decision and I'm happy about it. I failed. There were other parts which I didn't notice at that point of time, but then there was a learning out of it. So I don't regret about any of the decisions. It's all which is happening for good.
Amazing. Next set of skills: self awareness, coping with stress, time management, and coping with emotions.
Self-awareness is why, because when I said this example that not everybody can be an innovator. So somebody reads this preamble of WHO and says that I also have to be a innovator, I have to do a creative thinking. That's not necessary in life. That's, you need to know yourself first. So it is very important. Tomorrow I say, okay, I have confidence and I will go and contest for prime minister's position. So, but there has to be a self-awareness. Am I capable of doing that? So not everybody can do everything in life. This is very important aspect to understand. Sense of satisfaction also needs to be there at some point of time when you have, and this only comes when you have a self-awareness. I also want to be Dhirubhai Ambani, but probably at some point of time I realized that yes, this is not possible, that is not possible, or probably I'm not that great, or I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. So rather than sulking for this, there's an important step which is like self-awareness, which says that okay, this is something which probably I should not be jumping into. Same thing is self-awareness is not just for restricting you. Self-awareness is also important for achieving a thing. Because what happens if I have taken up a task, if I have the right self-awareness about myself, I know what are my strengths. So teamwork, like we say, it's very important to have a teamwork. So if I have the right self-awareness, I know that this part I'll be able to do, this particular part my other team member who's much better at this particular task will be able to do. So for achieving or for not achieving both the things, I think self-awareness is very, very important. Then coping with stress and emotions, I think it comes with everyone. And whether it's a situation in army, where you get into those kind of situations, and stress is about staying away from your family, stress is about staying in those kind of environmental conditions, stress is about staying in very uh, places which have got a lot of like CIA, or getting into a battle zone. Obviously there are stress, and the best way to cope stress in army, we say, is sports. And this I would like to tell it to all the viewers who are here, is indulge yourself into physical activities. Today the most difficult part is because we keep sitting on our laptops, we keep creating stress for ourselves, our boss creates stress for us, and we realize that without physical activity, there, see, your all hormones have to work identically. I am not a medico, so I'll not be able to explain in those senses, but as a sports person, I will say, moment you get out of your room, you get into some sports, half an hour, 1 hour, and trust me, it's not difficult to manage that kind of time. There's a lot of stress. It is really a stress buster. And another thing which personally I would say is, stop thinking about that particular thing which is giving you stress. So if I get stressed for something, after a certain time, I stop thinking about it. I was like, okay, if it is bound to happen, it is bound to happen. What can I do? Is there a decision making which is required? Yes, that's a different skill. I will take a decision. Is there something else which I am doing to do? Yes, I will do that. But if it is inevitable, it has to happen, then why take stress about it? If I have goofed up and tomorrow my boss is going to have my happiness for it, and I really can't do anything, I've sent him a mail and this is what I know and I have done it. Forget about it. Let it happen tomorrow, boss. So it's don't take too much of pressure on your heads that this should not happen. Failure, success is part of life. It is bound to happen. Nobody has just succeeded in life. Everybody has failed. So failing and whatever happens in your organization, in your personal life, some things are bound to happen. So live with it. Stress is not going to benefit you for sure. So either you try and resolve it or you don't think about it. That's my suggestion.
Next set is very close to army, I would say. Leadership and teamwork, time management.
I think this is the backbone of any of the army, not just Indian Army. Leadership is a skill without which you cannot be a you cannot be a soldier, I would say, to that extent. And every soldier needs to have that leadership. It's not just about officers in Indian Army or any army. It's every soldier has that leadership skill, and it is so much important that you need to drive yourself towards that. So what happens is, when you take any example where being in army, what is leadership? So first we need to understand that what is leadership. Leadership is not about being a boss. So if I am running a company, I am the owner of the company. I'm not a leader. I'm the owner. I'm the boss. We keep seeing a lot of memes on WhatsApp and everywhere. So there's no rocket science to understand what is the difference between a boss and a leader. But a leader has to lead. That's how the word comes up. So you need to show that attribute. You need to show that strength to stand in front and take the team ahead. So leadership, whether it is army, whether it is corporate, whether it is your college, school, leadership is very important if you want to lead something. If you have an agenda in your head, either you can be solo and you're just driving it yourself. If you want people to be with you, you need to be a leader for that. So that is that. And teamwork, when you say, so leadership is connected to teamwork. That's what I said. If you're solo, you're solo, but you can't take your life solo. So teamwork is very, very important, and there's a huge discussion on teamwork you can do. But in nutshell, if I want to say, teamwork is, you need to first of all respect your team. You need to know that every member of your team is important. Till the time you don't have empathy for your team members, you actually can't respect them. Until the time you don't respect them, you can't expect them to deliver at their best. Trusting your team is another very important thing. So delegation is a very important part of your task. You can't be doing everything alone. And if you're doing it like that, you are either going to commit a mistake or you are going to succumb too fast in life. So you need to delegate, you need to trust people, you need to respect people, and that's where it is very important. An army is all about teamwork. It's no Rambo, no Superman, no Spider-Man in army. We are human beings and we all work on our teams. We know how to drive a team, and that's what takes us to success. So teamwork is really, really important. Time management, when you said, is something different from these two aspects, but yes, it is important. And when I said that you can take out half an hour, 1 hour every day for sports. So I think, how time management works in army also is that you are disciplined about something. So first thing for time management is discipline. Till the time you are not disciplined, you will keep cribbing that मेरे पास time नहीं है, मेरा काम बहुत pressurizing है, मुझे time नहीं मिलता, मुझे ये नहीं कर सकता. First, try and get disciplined and then try it out. And few very simple things which I even did when I was in school is, you make your timetable. If it is, and this is for novices who are struggling to manage their time. My father taught me this thing when I was very young, and I have been following it. I can tell it to everyone, whether you're a college student, whether you're working in corporate, you're anywhere. You make your timetable, spread your day, and then you will realize that yes, this particular time, if I religiously sit for these 2 hours, I'll be able to complete it. So that's how you start dividing your time. And you can keep doing those tweakings, but you need to have this in your head that this is what I had kept as a target. So these are small, small targets that you keep for yourself. That actually not just helps you manage your time, it also helps you deliver better performance. Because you know that this time is dedicated for this particular thing, so I'll be doing this particular thing at this time. So your focus increases in that scenario. Yeah.
All right. So there are few, topics which usually corporates ask for training. Okay. Now that's none of these top 10 life skills. They are completely different, but they are very hot topics in corporate trainings. So that's why I'm asking that. Can you draw parallels to your experience of army or corporate? Selling and negotiation, customer service, public speaking.
Okay. Selling and negotiation. The red hot topic for everyone, and everybody knows it. Ladakh crisis. Now you must have been hearing in news, army commander level meet, division commander level meet, CO's level meet. What is exactly happening between two countries? It's actually negotiation that's going on. Scenario is very different. Scenario is about land capture. It's about geopolitical issues between two countries. But end of the day, what is army doing at this point of time is negotiation. Because that's your first stage in army. If you are able to settle it with negotiations, you will not have bloodshed over there. So this negotiation is not just about कि vendor को बुलाओ और उससे rate कम कराओ. We need to understand negotiation is a life skill. You negotiate with everyone. You negotiate with your wife. You negotiate with your parents. You negotiate with your kids. If your kid will ask for something, you tell him, okay, तुम एक काम करो, तुम इतने marks ले आओगे तो ले लूँगा. Or you do one thing, you study for 2 hours, or I'll not buy you this because of this particular reason. What is all that? That is all negotiation. So negotiation is a skill that we all, when somebody says that I can't negotiate, I really don't understand that part. Why can't you negotiate? If you cannot negotiate, so probably you are taking anything and everything, all the shit that is coming in life, you are accepting everything. If you are not, then it means you are negotiating at some place. So it is not a commercial manager's role to negotiate. It's a human behavior to negotiate. So that is so important over here. Selling, obviously, we all sell ourselves at each point of time, almost every day in life, we sell ourselves, whether it is for job, whether it is for interviews, whether it is for any kind of purpose you look at. So that is another part which is very, very important in army also. And it's again, I'll say it's a lifestyle skill. So it is not just related to army or corporate. So you need to know that, and for selling, again, there are certain attributes that we'll go back and we'll see that what do you need to know for selling. For selling, it's one very important thing is self-confidence. If I'm not confident about myself, how do I go and sell myself? If I don't know my strengths and weaknesses, how do I go and sell myself? Whom do I go and sell myself? Because if I have to go and sell myself, I know that, okay, these are my strengths. So this is a particular organization or person or institution who is looking for this kind of a person. So this is my strength. So I should go and sell myself over here. So that is where it is important that you need to know what are your skills. You need to have a self-realization, self-awareness. That's how this particular skill becomes important. And the third one was, I missed it. Sorry, what was that?
Customer service and public speaking.
Customer service and public. Customer service, I think, from now taking a parallel from army. Who is customer for army? It's the country.
Citizens,
It's the citizens.
yes.
It's the people who are living there. For them, now what are they doing? They're doing a service for the customers. For them, the priority is customers' safety and security. And they are doing every bit for maintaining that safety and security. How many times it happens that if you are going out, you introduce that I am major this, or forget about an officer. You say, मैं सिपाही हूँ, मैं नायक हूँ, मैं लांस नायक हूँ, मैं हवलदार हूँ, and you get all the respect in the world. Doesn't happen. Let's be practical. It doesn't happen. You don't care for who major, who colonel. You're also a big shot, and you are happy in your life. You don't care for. And unfortunately, in army, we remember army men. We remember these soldiers only after they achieve a martyrdom. When their bodies are being flown back to their cities, that time we see huge rush and people sitting and shouting slogans at that point of time. But when these people are alive, nobody cares. And that's a part of that. There's no crib against it. But that's how the world moves. But still, knowing that till the time I am alive, I am working in army, I still work for the satisfaction of my customer, which is the citizen of the nation. I don't know whether they who knows who is Major Vikrant Khare. It's 12 lakh strong Indian army. Who knows Major Vikrant Khare? But Major Vikrant Khare has to do his duty, and all the other people who are there in army, they every day, every minute, they work for the satisfaction of their customers. So I don't think I need a better parallels or bigger parallels than this to make the people understand who are in corporate or who are in any of the service sector, manufacturing sector, to understand how important is your customer satisfaction. So whether your customer gets back to you, does not get back to you, he has shown his gratitude to you, not shown, till the time you're focusing on your customer service, remember your customer will stick to you. Your customer might not have time to come back and show their gratitude to you, but they will stick to your services. So customer service is very, very important part. And the last one was, Arun, sorry, I again missed it.
Public speaking.
Public speaking. I think till the time you don't speak, people don't know what you're trying to talk. And whether it's politics, whether it's army, whether it's corporate, public speaking is very important skill in life, because what happens, one is that it gives you confidence. When you start speaking in front of people, it gives you a lot of confidence. Don't worry about errors, faults, what will I say, what will happen. Let it happen. Especially for the students, I want to say. See, there's no harm. It's not that you will not be able to achieve certain things if you are not doing a public speaking. Probably Einstein might not be a public speaker. I don't know. I'm just putting it up as an example. So, public speaking is a skill which always boosts your morale, boosts your confidence. And also, when you talk about all these things, negotiation, okay, one negotiation is sitting in a room across the table and negotiating. How do you negotiate with 1,000 employees of your company? You will never be able to do it on emails. It's public speaking again. So, how do you motivate the entire battalion to come and join you for a battle? It's public speaking. So, public speaking at certain places, it is very, very important, and it's always good to create that habit. Don't be afraid of failing, saying right, wrong. Stand up and say. Just stand up and say. So that's probably a good attribute for a leadership role anywhere. And when you talk about the people who are there in corporates or who are in colleges, if you look at senior management roles, leadership roles in across any organization, public speaking will come as a barrier to you if you're not good at it. So develop it right away.
Agreed. In your current role, Major, you are an entrepreneur right now. You are running a successful software company, plus you are active into politics. So, in this, what are the few life skills which you think are helping you the most?
So see, it's like everything, as I told why I joined this, those are the skills that are motivating me to go on also. So one very important skill to sustain anything is, we call in army lingo, is survival skill. So you have those failures at every aspect of your life. If you have this thing of tendency of saying quit too early, you will not be able to sustain that. So skill of survival is very, very important. And you need to know that at any point of time, till the time you are there, you can fight it out. So that is one most important skill. Then if you talk about whether it's negotiation, whether it is self-awareness, whether it is confidence, and all the amendments of WHO just you mentioned about, I think every aspect comes in bits and pieces. So you don't have to actually drill yourself to so much ki, which skill should now I use. It's life is not like that. There's no diary that says, okay, flip this page and now this skill you should be using over here. It's a habit that goes on. So till the time you have your brain open, you have that progressive thinking, and you have that approach to and determination to achieve certain thing, automatically these life skills will start falling in place, and you'll start using it at every right place. So I think these all skills, I think everything is there which helps me as a human being. I can think right. I can understand what is right, wrong as a normal human being, and those are the skills those skills tell me, okay, this is a particular thing that you need to do right now. And then, as probably the last thing, is my sense of enjoyment. That's very important, because I don't think if I would have not been enjoying any particular thing, I would have been doing it. So sense of joy, sense of happiness, sense of enjoyment is most important in life. You need to be happy about doing anything. Then only you can do that.
Thank you so much, Major, for your time. So let me just tell you
Thank
that
you.
the audience we have are college students, okay, who are in their final, pre-final years of their graduation, post-graduation. We have professionals working in corporates, and we do have audience who are wanting to become entrepreneurs. Any closing words, Major, you want to tell these kind of people who are watching you right now?
So see, I would tell it to everyone, and it is like whichever aspect of life you are in. One is start loving yourself. Uh, have a healthy life. That's very important. So when I talk about sports, physical activities, because all these life skills are of no use if you're not in a good health. So you need to have a very healthy life, be happy about what you are doing, have that self confidence. There are no mantras in life, but trust me, if you are healthy, and that's what drives me. And many times I think कि कुछ नहीं करूंगा तो मैं मजदूरी तो कर ही लूंगा, because I feel that I'm healthy, I am capable of doing that physically. So I'm not that somebody should aim for doing a mazduri or those things, but I'm just trying to tell you is life can have lots of ups and downs. Your entire plans. When I joined NDA, I thought that probably I leave army either if I die in any operation or once I retire as after whatever age. But then life had something else for me. So there are lots of ups and downs in life. You need to be mentally strong to take everything. Plan, but don't over plan. Dream, but don't over dream. Okay. So let it happen. It's one life. You've got that. Be happy about that life. Be determined to achieve what you want to and live a very healthy and happy life. I think that's what I would want to tell it to everyone who is viewing me over here.
Thank you so much, Major, for giving us your valuable time. After end of a session, I normally say, I hope the session added value to you. But today I can confidently say that I am sure this session, this first episode of Spark, has added tremendous value to the viewers. I am pretty sure we were able to ignite a small spark in your minds and hearts as well. Thank you for watching, and please do get back to us for any queries or feedback. Let us end this inspiring episode of Spark with a quote. A true soldier fights not because he hates what is in front of him, but because he loves what is behind him. All the very best. Keep learning and keep growing.